Echoplex Media, boo.
See the same people every other day, but we never say hey, cause we're never looking the way, or my face was in my notebook, we passed each other, didn't look. But these are the people of the towns, of the towns, the towns, of the towns. And large cities are just a bunch of big small towns, overlapping side by side, big small towns. I see new people every day. Everyone's on their way, doing the things that fill their day, and I'm going places too, doing the things that I do with my time. We are the people of the towns, of the towns, the towns, of the towns. And large cities are just a bunch of big small towns, big small towns, diagonal, top to bottom, big small towns. Be nice to the people of the towns, once in a while look around, cause what's going around's coming around. What came around's coming around. What's going around's coming around. Big, 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 small towns. Word gets around in the big small towns. Big, 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 small towns. Word gets around in the big small towns. Big, 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 small towns. Word gets around in the big small towns.
Hey everybody, welcome to Downballot. We do this most Tuesdays, 7:30 p.m. Pacific, right here on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/Echoplex Media. You can support this project at patreon.com/Echoplex or at our preferred location over at eplex.store. $5 a month or higher gets you the entire show, including red light, whatever that may be over the holidays, because there ain't no public comment happening over the holidays. You can also just go to echoplexmedia.com, click support link at the top of the website, and you can make other decisions there. And I don't know, you don't have to give me money though. Fuck it. I'm producer Dave. You can find me on Blue Sky at Plex-Dave.
And this is the Councilman coming at you from an undisclosed location, and hopefully not in 4-bit.
No, it's fine.
Oh, wonderful. And you'll also find me giving a little bit of change every month to Echoplex Media. It's a wonderful program and network to support. Happy to be here, as always, producer Dave. You can find me at PJ Allen 2, that's TWO, on the Blue Sky device. And typically you can find me in that public comment, but as you mentioned, there's not much going on. It's a slow news week, but somehow I was able to put together a docket, and we'll probably end up talking until well after midnight. So happy New Year's Eve to everyone. And we can dive right into it whenever you're ready.
Yes, for leading off, it looks like people want some answers about the power outage in San Francisco last week.
Well, I definitely do.
Chaos brought by PG&E's weekend outages.
It was just a huge inconvenience.
Leaving residents like Sunshine McLaughlin scrambling to prepare for the holiday.
I had a freezer full of food and I had a fridge full of food. I opened it up, everything is dead.
The utility company is offering automatic rebates ranging from $200 to $2,500 for residents and businesses respectively. But San Franciscans like McLaughlin say it's not enough.
I just had to go grocery shopping yesterday, $400 just to make up for what I lost. So we need to do better, PG&E.
I asked Mayor Daniel Lurie about discussions he's had with their leadership.
What have your communications been with PG&E since Monday?
I spoke to the CEO yesterday. I told her, my frustrations with the communications. Our ratepayers are paying far too much for a collapse like that we saw. So I want to see rates going down.
Did PG&E seem open to that? I think there's a lot of concerns that since this is probably going to cost PG&E a lot, that some of those costs will be eventually passed down to customers.
Yeah, we have to make sure that the ratepayers are not the ones that pay for this. They have admitted that it was their fault. They've set aside $50 million, a good first step, but we need more from PG&E. We need to make sure that there are no future blackouts. We need to know that their infrastructure is sound.
PG&E's chief operating officer
We won't rest until we get to the bottom of what happened.
apologetic on social media Tuesday.
We need to do better in providing you with accurate estimated time of restorations.
City lawmakers vowing to hold hearings and explore taking over the utility company.
A city takeover of PG&E assets would not be a simple process. San Francisco has already asked the CPUC to evaluate how much it would cost for the city to acquire PG&E, and that process could take years.
Oh my God, that would be so fucking expensive.
Very much so, especially if it was just San Francisco. There's been a lot of talk about breaking up PG&E at the statewide level, or and a lot of municipalities, including San Jose, are discussing creating their own power companies. Santa Clara, here in the South Bay, has one. Forgetting there are a few other municipalities in the state that have their own power companies, and to get away from the big utilities. But yeah, I don't buy for a second that PG&E is not going to pass costs down to the consumer. I don't buy for a second that it's not going to cost them, a ton of money to fix whatever problem they created. And I certainly doubt that the CPUC is going to let San Francisco take over PG&E, no matter what Mayor Lurie and his trench coat have to say about it. But he's there, ready to protect the city and save the day in his secret identity as Mayor Ed 210.
So, like, the other thing is, like, if San Francisco were to try to do this, the cost of taking over the utility wouldn't just be the cost of taking over the utility. It would be all the associated litigation, because PG&E would probably just start, like, filing a ton of lawsuits against them for trying to do it in the first place.
100%. And then, of course, the grid itself and the infrastructure, the costs are just unfathomable, even with the city and county of San Francisco having a budget in billions. This would be a huge cost increase to them, legal fees, all the other things. So I think it's a lot of bluster, frankly, from city leaders, because they're just trying to look good for their constituents and people who, like Sunshine, had a lot of dead things in her fridge, although I don't know what live things she had in her fridge prior to the shut off. But that's kind of the point, right, is to keep dead things cold so they don't go bad. But we can talk to RFK Jr. about that later.
So, the other thing is, like, I don't know, the power goes out sometimes. This was, like, citywide, though. But it's really interesting that, like, I don't know, that he was... because he's probably not buddies with the CEO of PG&E, but he sure is friends with the Waymo people, and he got them on the phone lickety split and was like, "Oh, I'm dealing with Waymo," and it was just, like, very funny just to, like, listen to the way he talked about, like, PG&E versus Waymo. It's very, very interesting.
Well, PG&E is in the pocket of almost every Sacramento legislator. They've helped most of them get elected. They spend a ton of money in our local political scene and the community to curry favor from not just elected officials, but nonprofit organizations and community leaders. So they spread the wealth around, and they have a lot of power. They're one of the strongest lobbying groups in Sacramento. So they tend to get what they want, no matter what. So you got to walk. If you're Mayor Ed 210, you probably are looking at trying to have a political future beyond mayor of San Francisco, you have to tread lightly for fear of emboldening or enraging or otherwise getting on the bad side of one of the bigger spending groups in any elections in California. That being said, you could also grow a spine. But even some good people I know who are in the legislature, pretty much kowtow to PG&E at every chance they get because they live for the money. They live for the campaign dollars, right? And it's just how it comes down to it. Elections are expensive, and as long as they are organizations like PG&E that have a ton of money and are pretty much a public monopoly, will have a lot of power. So.
Well, we'll see how this all shakes out. San Francisco is not taking over the electrical grid.
No, that won't be happening anytime soon. I could see San Francisco creating its own electric company, which again has happened, and it's actually really successful. Santa Clara's power bills, residential power bills, are significantly lower than PG&E. Folks in neighboring cities who have PG&E, including the good wife and myself, who live maybe 5 minutes away from the Santa Clara border, but we deal with PG&E all the time. And while we don't spend a ton, we don't use a lot of electricity. We're really very conservative and economical and environmentally friendly in our house. We still spend a pretty good chunk of our monthly budget on our PG&E bill. And it keeps going up. It doesn't seem to be going down, no matter what they say. But speaking of Waymo, we didn't have it here, but they actually came out with a statement after our show aired last week that was one of the more, whatever you think of them in companies like that, it was one of the more, I think, honest and self-owning statements I've seen. Like we effed up, remember we had the story about their cars getting stalled in the street. We screwed up. We weren't prepared for this, and we're going to do better. Which is more than you can say for, PG&E kind of says the same thing, but it takes a week and a half for them to come out and say that.
And not for nothing, this is PG&E is this giant company that's had to do this before, right? They've had their stuff fail before, so you would think that they would have focus grouped, ready fucking shit to say as soon as this kind of stuff happens. I don't love Waymo and whatever, but I feel if they were able to say, it was because of much smaller inconvenience in the grand scheme of things what happened with Waymo, but if they were able to come out and just say something that seemed kind of reasonable before PG&E that's been doing this for how fucking long?
Right. Well, not just power outages, right? The wildfires, so many things that they've fucked up over the years recently, where they've had to put the tail between the legs so many times. You'd figure they had a canned response ready to go, but they also have had a lot of shifting of staff and CEOs and C-suite level people. So maybe they're all just, there's a learning curve for all of them. So every new tragedy or every new malfunction is a new experience for them.
Yeah. And I can't imagine that the power infrastructure in San Francisco is brand new, right? A lot of this stuff has probably been there some of this stuff might've been there for 100 fucking years.
Well, folks will recall, if students of history will recall, I guess our Gen Zers may not recall much of anything before the recession, if that. But in the 1906, after the 1906 earthquake in San Francisco, 8-point-something magnitude earthquake, one of the last major earthquakes in California, the earthquake itself didn't do a whole lot of, it did a lot of damage, but it didn't do the brunt of the damage. The majority of the damage was done by the fires that were caused by broken gas lines and mains and broken water lines. So the infrastructure failed. Failure afterwards is what caused more of the damage than the earthquake itself. So PG&E our power companies and our electrical grid have a long history here in California. And San Francisco is certainly one of the oldest cities in the country and has some of the oldest infrastructure. So anytime you're doing any kind of public works project there, it's not surprising, like with the Millennium Tower or the Central Subway or other Salesforce Tower, other projects that have encountered delays and problems. It's no surprise because the infrastructure is just that old, right? It's hard to build on top of.
There's probably buildings where the wiring up to the building and inside of the building is 80 years old in San Francisco.
The wiring in the good wife of my house is actually going on 70 years old. Frankly, we're going to get it replaced finally. But we had a guy come over the other day, and he looked at it. He said, he kind of gave us this look like. For those of you on the podcast, you don't know what I just did there, but that sort of smiley face emoji. The gritting teeth emoji, but is it bad? And he's like, well, your house isn't going to burn down tomorrow. but
I don't know. It's not.
It could.
Yeah, I'm not predicting. I'm not predicting anything.
Like stuff insulated with cardboard foam. So anyway, the grid probably needs a good update in San Francisco anyway. So it's not surprising these things happen. And but people who are stressed about power outages, it's just nature of the beast, right? Like if you want to live in civilization, post-industrial revolution, it's not as though this stuff's perfect. And sometimes Amazon goes down, God forbid, right? The internet goes out.
That's the other thing is the power goes out. The power goes out. It takes out your fucking internet with it. And if it's a big enough outage, even if you have like we did I should probably have that here too, actually. We had like a little battery backup that we could plug the router into. But if the power outage is big enough, well, it's taking out the fucking power to like the equipment that's delivering your internet to you too. So.
Right. So, I think if we want all this wonderful convenience, right, and we don't want to truly live off the grid and go back to, hunter-gatherers, being hunter-gatherers, if we want all these conveniences, we're going to have to accept that sometimes the Waymos are going to stall in the middle of the street. And that's pretty much what we got to do.
And like I said, the power going out is way bigger deal than the Waymos fucking up in the middle of the street. Cause from what I could tell, it was a lot of inconvenience and I felt bad for that lady who lost all her food. That's another thing I should probably get is because a fridge, actually, new refrigerator is pretty fucking efficient. You could run that shit maybe a day on one of them fucking $300 battery backups.
Yeah, for sure.
But the problem is that people buy those things and then forget to keep. They buy those things and then they go to plug it in. They're like, "Fuck! Wait, I didn't charge this."
Right. Right. You have the thing that you're supposed to be helping you prepare, but you're not prepared.
Right. No, that's fine. That's fine. We should move on here. We're going to move on to down ballot watch. There was an election in Santa Clara County today.
Yeah. So folks might recall during our down ballot bingo back at the end of October for the November election, there was a special election to replace the retired Santa Clara County tax assessor. This is not the tax collector who actually collects the checks. This is the head of the office that assesses property values and sets, what the property taxes are going to be on those properties.
Oh, big news from the chat. One of our viewer, as you say, singular, voted in that election.
Oh, wonderful. Congratulations, viewer. I think much appreciated. The good wife and I are on.
And they only knew who the candidates were from watching here. Well, we didn't know shit about the candidates here either. So you were the least informed voter, but possibly the most informed voter.
Well, and one of the very few. So there was an election. The first round was held in November during the statewide election. The county was able to consolidate, as they say, their election with that election, so they didn't have to spend a bunch of money to run their own election for this special race because the former assessor decided he was going to resign midterm, even the election next year, because he had reached the record number of years of service for an elected assessor in California, and he decided he would just resign after he got that wonderful mention or note on his resume. But that triggered an open seat and millions of dollars in election costs to replace him. The initial race did not generate a winner in a 50+1 scenario. So they had to have a runoff between the top two candidates out of the three that ran, including the former assessor's chosen pick, and then our good old friend Rishi Kumar from Saratoga, who we've covered on this show before, who's run for just about anything and is promising to cancel property taxes for seniors and all sorts of other crazy shit he can't do. But that runoff is coming to a head today on New Year's Eve. What a wonderful day for an election. Ballots have been out for about a month now. And
I think like 9 people fucking voted then.
Right. It's entirely possible that Rishi could be more successful than folks think, simply because it looks like 90% of the ballots that have come in are for people 65 and up. So perhaps his message is working. But at this point, I think the registrar said 16% of ballots have been returned as of today, which is not so bad, actually. And I thought
I would have thought it would have been like 6% or just 6.
So, or just 6. Well, the good wife and I got ours in right before we left on
8.
our little holiday. Yeah, our little holiday vacation with the bad baby. That's where we are now. So we dropped our ballots off right before they were counted. We did check. So they've got ours in. 8 people have voted, and hopefully a couple more will vote. But we're going to find out. We won't go live to that. No need to learn about it tonight. We can learn about it next week on Down Ballot. But around 9 minutes from now, the first results will be posted, and we'll see what happened. But we're going to get a clip from APC, I think, Bay Area.
Oh, that's great. This is actually from ABC Bay Area's website, so any number of things might happen when I click the play button.
We might get a sex ad or something.
The holiday season
is in full
swing, but it's also election time. A special election runoff is underway, and the role of Santa Clara County Assessor is on the line.
So how are you feeling before the election?
I'm excited.
Quite excited, we're going to win this.
The assessor manages a team to assess all taxable property in Santa Clara County. It's a position Nisa Flagor is very familiar with. She's the current assistant assessor in the county. She believes her experience will lead to a seamless transition of power for the benefit of residents.
Our role is one step in the process of generating revenue that funds vital services in Santa Clara County. I am the only candidate with the experience, qualifications, management, and leadership skills to be the next county assessor. I am ready to serve the residents of Santa Clara County.
Homegirl, the other candidate's a man, though. Did you think about that?
Rishi Kumar doesn't have direct experience in the office, but holds years of experience in tech and city council. He believes
holds years and years of experience running for office.
He did serve on the city council in Saratoga, so he has won something at some point.
lead to property tax reform locally, especially for seniors.
We believe with the management skills we have,
pandering to with the Giants head
role will be absolutely important in the role of the assessor's office. I'm the only candidate who's talking about affordability. In Santa Clara County, there are seniors who are being pushed to homelessness because of property tax. And that's the change that I'm looking to bring.
If it seems like an odd time for a special election, it is. Registrar of Voters Matt Morella says there are strict rules in the county charter of when an election takes place after a vacancy to the assessor role and when a runoff must occur if needed.
Obviously, that was challenging because of the timing around the holidays, but we're hoping that as voters are getting back from their holiday plans, they're realizing that they still have time to get their ballot in and make their voice heard tomorrow.
The good news is if you haven't yet cast your ballot, there's still time to do so. Drop boxes and voting centers will close at 8 p.m. on Tuesday.
Well,
so you still have if you're watching out there, other viewer,
you have 7 minutes.
Still have 7 minutes, so run down to your local library and drop it in that white box. But we'll bring you the results next week from this race. You got to hear from the two candidates. Obviously, Rishi is pandering, as I know, to Giants fans like myself, even though I will fully admit I voted for the other person.
You mean the one who seemed like she should just have the job as the interim fucking thing until the next election cycle anyway?
Yeah, I mean, she was appointed by the former assessor to this deputy role. I think it was all set up. I think he had pegged her to take over, or whatever you want to call it, succeed him anyway.
But like, she was internal though, right? Like she was hired internally from the office. Is that correct?
No, but she actually had not been in the office. She had done the work. So she had done I think property appraisal or something like that outside of the office. But she was hired as the deputy last year from outside the office.
That was incorrect.
But she has been involved in modernization that's happening with their systems. They were working on a 20th century computer system. I don't even want to begin to talk to you about it because you'd probably pull your hair out. But the system that's used to manage all of this stuff for us is ancient, just like the former assessor was ancient and not really interested in new things. He actually bragged about not hiring more staff over the course of, or actually lowering his staff numbers over the years, and saving taxpayers money as the roles increased exponentially. So they had more work but less people, and he was really excited about this. So a lot of folks are.
Well, that's not good for anybody, especially the fucking staff.
Yeah, very much so. The staff, I do know some folks on the staff. Actually, one of my former bandmates works on the staff at the assessor's office. That he really likes Nisa. They're mostly supporting her as much as they did not like their former boss. But there's an interim right now, a white dude that's just sort of caretaking the office. And really, this office is a very ministerial kind of a position. It's not, the former assessor liked to say it's not a political position, but any elected position is a political position by nature. And he liked to treat it that way. He's showing up at all the barbecues and the other events, being called
a free fucking hamburger is a free fucking hamburger. We, as we know from watching the Shasta County Board of Supervisors meetings, there's a dude we make fun of because when he gives his little report, he'll say things like,
I did my normal 2 breakfasts.
And that means 2 people fed him a free fucking breakfast, right? Like,
yeah. And Larry Stone, the former assessor, was getting free breakfast for 29 years as the assessor. And before that, he was the mayor and council member from Sunnyvale. So he's a career politician. So the fact that he called this position not political is laughable. But it is really, there's not a whole lot that you can do to work around, state law and Prop 13 and all these other things. There's a lot that's sort of written in and baked into what you do in terms of assessing property values and then assessing the tax, the property taxes. Rishi is out of his mind if he thinks he can, cancel people's property tax or, do anything. He's talking about how we're going to talk about this next year a lot because it's circulating right now, but there's a citizens initiative that he's leading the way on that would do that or would basically reform Prop 13 that could go on the ballot next year. But yet to be seen if that's going to happen. But he's touting that as a reason and his support of that measure as a reason why you should vote for him. But in this position, he wouldn't be able to do most of the shit he's proposing to do. It is really just a pencil pushing or whatever you want to call it position. And yes, you get a lot of free breakfast. So maybe he needs free breakfast.
all right. Well, apparently there's somebody, a disgruntled former employee thinks the votes are going to be counted incorrectly. I think this is a situation where there's not going to be enough votes for that to be a problem. I think I could probably count them just because of the date of this election. But
yeah, the county tends to hire what they call extra help around elections to count and process ballots and mail-in ballots. So if you want, you and I could sign up and get a little extra cash on the side hustle if you want to go count some ballots.
No.
No? Okay. Well, we'll learn about the mysterious anonymous former employee who alleges some malfeasance in the count in the November election that triggered this runoff.
It first was very confusing. We didn't know what was causing the issue.
This is a former Santa Clara County employee. He's worked on several elections helping tabulate votes, and now he's raising an issue about the special election last month. And we're not showing his face for this story as he's worried about retaliation.
Wait, didn't they just show his face?
From his employment. Are you worried people might take this?
Oh, okay, never mind.
Well, if he's black, there's literally like 5 black people in all of Santa Clara County.
Ballots were counted. Each batch of ballots fed through the machine would be off by several numbers, he says. And while the county and state say the election was safe, accurate, and secure, the former employee says it did take a while for them to overcome the issues.
And we didn't notice the issue until kind of halfway through counting all the ballots that we received. During that time when I was there and experiencing that issue, I was one of the only people actually asking questions about why this could be, and was working with the leads at the registrar of voters to figure out the root cause.
Our source tells us election workers had to work harder to ensure the votes were recounted, and the end result ended up being accurate.
We did notice that there was a minor issue we were experiencing during conducting the November election.
The registrar of voters for Santa Clara County, Matt Morales, acknowledged the issue but said it was only caught because Santa Clara County triple checks all its votes.
And during that secondary quality control process, we started finding that there was a small number of ballots that had gotten missed.
The company that owns the software, Liberty Vote, Morales says, put out an advisory to all counties that use its software. And while the county says fewer than 100 ballots were missed at first read, our source says it was likely more.
Obviously not enough to sway or change an election, but we want to be as accurate as possible when it comes to things like voting or government.
But wait, motherfucker, they caught it. That's the point. Like, what the fuck? Like, this is dumb. This is really dumb because it's like there was an error, some sort of glitch in the system that we immediately caught. Actually,
right.
Now I'm blowing the whistle, friend. There's no what whistle.
Right. Like I said, slow news week. But yeah, although, if they hadn't caught it, right, if it was just 100, like he downplayed, even this guy downplays it, 100 votes or whatever. I mean, we saw, obviously, there was a tie in that congressional primary last year that between Evan Lowe and Sam Liccardo. So,
right. But if it would have been that, if something would have been that close that triggered a recount, and I think that this number of votes would have been caught in the recount. But the problem probably would be. The idea that the exact problem would duplicate itself in the exact same way again during the recount sounds fucking absurd.
Yeah, this story is actually beneficial, I think, for us to cover simply because the system worked, right? The system of checks and balances and recounts and the data and the system worked at the end of the day, and everything did get counted accurately. So this former employee can raise all the concerns that they want. But if it was fixed, maybe that's the reason why he's the only one out there saying anything about it, because
like he was saying that, like they said, don't worry about it, but I think they were saying don't worry about it because they were saying that they have like triple redundancy, right? So if he was seeing something that he thought was weird, if they have like a triplicate redundancy thing that checks the votes, maybe if you've seen something you think is weird during the first run or whatever, maybe you shouldn't worry about it, right?
Right, or just wait to see what happens after the redundancies kick in, right? So. We can finish up the clip, but this is definitely a nothing burger kind of a story.
Secretary of State, who also confirmed the software issue. The state says Santa Clara County so far is the only county to encounter this issue. Our source.
This issue. You should see what's going on up in fucking Shasta County. Oh my God.
They got issues.
Watch.
Dude, they hired a guy that they said, they hired a guy. Oh, we're going to get them all counted by 10 o'clock. He meant 10 o'clock 2 weeks later.
10 o'clock next November.
If I was not someone that was working there, I would want to be someone that knows that that's happening in my government or in my county. And I think other people would like to know that that's something that is going on. So bringing that to light, I think, is really important.
There will be a special runoff election that will decide the county assessor for Santa Clara County. The Registrar of Voters office tells me that they will be using Liberty Vote, that same software that had those previous issues. But they did say that they have some different workarounds they're going to use this time to ensure that they avoid some of those same issues that we previously reported on. We tried reaching out to Liberty Vote, though, on Monday, and we did not hear back. Reporting here in San Jose, Jack Molmut, Cron 4 News.
Imagine not hearing back from somebody this week. That's like... Yeah, of course you're not going to hear back this week. Uh-oh. Have we lost the councilman?
We're lagging now.
Are we lagging? Can you hear me? Uh-oh. Fucking technology. Technology strikes again. Technology strikes again. Look at this. Anybody listening on the podcast, if you're ever wondering, this show is recorded live. and we are losing our co-host to bad hotel internet or a bad 5G connection, something along those lines. We are not. Yeah. Are you can hear me now? Yeah. No. Yes.
I can. Yeah, it's back.
All right, cool. Back, kind of. Great. Yes. Great. All right. Anyway, we're going to move on to winners and losers, where there's no winners unless you liked somebody and they probably got totally fucked in the story. Our first story here is the new Sunset District Supervisor is about to hear from more very angry constituents.
A wild morning in San Francisco's typically quiet Sunset District. Gunfire, flames, and cars doing donuts at 4:30 in the morning. The sideshow took place at two intersections just 1 block apart. Dahlin is live with the latest on the chaotic morning that angered neighbors. Da?
Yeah, we're near the intersection of 48th Ave and Kirkham Street, and this is where someone set a U-Haul moving truck on fire, and that's the problem with this mob mentality. Starts with a sideshow, but typically ends with something much, much more destructive. In this case, gunfire and arson.
Lovely.
Sunset neighbors jolted awake by spinning cars, fireworks, and gunshots around 4:30 in the morning. Neighbor Todd Brown called it a holiday nightmare.
It sounded like a racetrack. Honestly, they were revving up their motors.
But the sideshow quickly turned into vandalism when some spectators broke the front windshield and opened the door of a U-Haul truck Todd had rented. He watched from his house as people set the truck on fire.
They were actually setting off like Roman candles inside the car. Here's one of the Roman candles right here. They set this off. This is one of the fireworks right here.
Some of them had guns, so he tried to stay calm and made sure the flames did not spread to his house.
I was afraid the house was going to catch on fire. There was too many people. I didn't even want him to know that it was mine.
Frightened neighbors watched from their homes after repeatedly calling the police. They say there were at least 100 participants and spectators.
He just reached in his band and pop starts popping off shots.
That's when we went ahead and called the cops like, hey, not only do we have the Sideshow, but they're popping off shots.
Witnesses say some spectators jumped on top of a parked work van, damaging the roof and windshield. Many upset neighbors complained it took police at least 20 to 25 minutes to respond. They say they felt helpless.
They were outnumbered, so I asked him, why didn't you? And he said there was only 2 squad cars, and so they had to wait for backup.
Newly appointed Sunset Supervisor Alan Wong met with frustrated neighbors Saturday afternoon, answering questions.
There have been suggestions from some of the neighbors about a potential roundabout or different rubber speed bumps to provide some environmental preventions from this happening again. Then there's the response side of things, being able to encourage and ensure that we're fully staffed up in the police department.
The mayor recently signed legislation co-sponsored by Supervisor Wong, increasing Sideshow penalty fines from $500 to $1,000.
Hiring more police, like they keep saying they're hiring more police, but it's not happening quick enough.
As for Todd, he salvaged a few kitchen cabinets, but lost most of the cabinets and furniture inside the U-Haul.
I'm bummed out, It's a drag.
San Francisco police say they detained one person they believe is responsible for setting this fire. They impounded his car as well. Now neighbors would like police to impound more cars since they said there were a lot more other cars involved. Police officers say they are working on that. For now, live here in the Sunset District, I'll send it back to you, Andrea.
I'll teach you to go to a bad, overpriced neighborhood like the fucking Sunset, let me tell you.
Am I back?
Yep.
Here?
Yep.
All right. Yeah, I was going to say, so you want to be the District 4 supervisor, huh? Well, welcome to it. People want to shut down parks and build roads and pave paradise and put up a parking lot. And they want you to, put up speed bumps on their street, even though they'll probably start complaining about the same speed bumps as soon as they're installed. So it's one thing after another out there in the Tony Sunset area of San Francisco, and Alan Wong's getting a firsthand look.
I like how they're like, oh, they should put in a roundabout. I'm like, bitch, you're just building them an obstacle course. What are you talking about?
Yeah, they'll figure out how to jump up and do a little skateboard grind on the roundabout, right? That'd be kind of hot. But yeah, I shudder to think what they're going to put in to try to curb and curtail these things. Typically, it is like little mini speed bumps in the middle of the street. But again, most of those things usually inconvenience the residents and the locals, as we've seen with the barricades to prevent the Johns from picking up, our sex workers, and things of that nature in San Francisco. So hey, the devil you know is the devil. Sometimes the devil works better than the devil you don't, and a lot of changes come with unintended consequences or consequences.
And I think this is just downstream from there used to be the Bay Area used to have a bunch some racetracks where you could go as a citizen, you had to wear a helmet, you had to I think you had to pass some little safety test or whatever, and you could go out to the racetrack and blow off steam in your fucking hot rod. And
right.
None of those are all gone now because oopsie, that was fun. But you know what? The people who live near it, they're like, we can hear the racetrack. It's scaring my dog. Right?
Yeah, that's a great point. We remove because of public outcry and folks who homeowners and the people who can afford to live here. Because of those things, we take away, and government tends to take away opportunities for youth and for people in general to have fucking fun. What happens is people find a way. People want to have fucking fun. So this is how they do it. Right.
This isn't for me, right? But if I was into cars and there was and I was into and I was making my car fast and shit, there's nowhere to go, right? You end up racing on the fucking street.
Right. I think it's adjacent. It's certainly not, direct, and it's more of a tragedy, but, stuff like the Ghost Ship, right? Where, you've got, venues popping up where, music shows happen, right? That are not, they're not permitted. They're not sanctioned. They're not the
Ghost Ship was a special case where there was
special case.
There was there was just kindling everywhere.
Right. But you develop that kind of situation, right? Because you don't provide spaces. You don't do enough to support spaces and provide opportunity for these kind of things to happen. And, the icky electronic, the icky music and all the hippies running around on drugs. We don't want that in our neighborhood. So you can't open up a venue here. You got to shut down our boutique, right? But have some sort of unsanctioned warehouse show where kids could get trampled or any manner of things could go wrong because it's not permitted. It's not, not covered by any sort of security measures. So the more we try to pull away and take away opportunity for people to have fun, the more they're going to find illegal, quote unquote, or illicit and otherwise sometimes dangerous ways to have that fun. So we would be more wise, I think, to think about how we can provide more opportunity, especially when we talk about gang. But the mayor of San Jose, Mayor Ed 209, is talking about how in relation to the recent Valley Fair shooting, right? Gangs are targeting our youth. It's like, no shit, bro. The reason why gangs exist in the first place is because we don't provide enough opportunity for young people to feel, have some agency and
I also
be a part of something.
People when they think of a gang too, these is the Valley Fair shooting, I spent a little time kind of looking into it, and it was two groups of young people beefing. It wasn't people think it's the Bloods and the, you know what I'm saying? The Bloods and the Crips, or they think of it in some sort of way more organized. When you talk about it that way, all you do is serve to create fear and give people a false impression about the highly structured, organized crime that is actually, if it's happening in San Jose, it ain't those kids that were fucking beefing at the mall. Right. If there's organized crime and there is organized crime in San Jose, they ain't having no shootout at the mall. They're flying under the fucking radar.
Right. I'm Italian, man. There definitely is organized crime here in San Jose, and there always has been in some way or another. And there's, the most organized thing we've seen anything publicly, those smash and grab jobs, right? And those sort of those rackets.
But that's organized. And, that organized crime, they may have done smash and grab, but you know what they didn't have? They didn't have no fucking body count. You know why? Because that's bad for fucking business. The thing in San Jose 100%. Was two groups of young people, some of them underage, some of them teenagers, though, and they were just beefing. Yeah. It wasn't what you think of when people think of a gang. It just wasn't that.
It was just two people beefing, really. And if one of them happened to have gang ties, I don't think they did, but if one of them happened to have gang ties, it's just it's part and parcel to these thugs and these crazy kids, and we got to do something to crack down on crime and have stiffer penalties. We got to throw the ordinances against sideshows in San Jose, right? Even bystanders can get arrested and fined, even if you're just there just watching, right? It's silly season, and they're not going to stop these things from happening. It's just you build the barriers on one block, they're going to move the fucking thing one block over. You stop people from doing the Dolores Park skate run or whatever it's called, right? They moved it over 3 blocks, right? So it's not like you can't find another hill in San Francisco to skateboard down.
San Jose and other places, they tried to fucking make bike party illegal, and that shit didn't work. I mean, it's different, mind you, right? Because a bike party, I mean, people get annoyed by it, but fuck that. Then also by the trying to make bike party illegal, I think a story we covered this year where people were oh, it was bike party, but those were people whiling out in the middle of the day at a parking lot of a Safeway. I'm no, the bike party people, if the people started doing that at bike party, they'd get their asses kicked by bike party.
Right.
What are you talking about?
They would no longer be in part of bike party, basically.
Right.
So so we'll see what happens, and good luck to Alan Wong. Welcome to the job, bro.
This is so funny that this happened in the fucking Sunset. I'm you know what? You should stay out of that fucking neighborhood then, I guess.
He's going to get recalled over this probably. So we'll track it.
They're going to find out that he's got they're going to find out that he's got a lowered accord and he's out of there.
Speaking of which, the Good Wife, I think it's why I lost connection here. The Good Wife was checking election results, and I was on her hotspot. Looks like Nisa Flagor, the deputy, is actually winning 2-1.
Oh, great.
In the initial returns. So she's doing well. So the crazy person's not going to be. The total turnout right now is 15%. 15% of ballots that were available.
So there's still, I mean, it's low, but 2-1. It's likely homegirl's going to win, because we're not going to get half of ballots coming in, even, I don't think, on this.
No, and if you look at volume, she's at 107,000 votes. He's at about 55,000. So and there's that's 160 some odd total. So even if you doubled that count, he would have to win so many of the remaining ballots to overcome. So it looks like Nisa Flagor will be the next county assessor in Santa Clara County. Good. So we did bring you the results live here on Downballot. Thanks, Good Wife.
Anyway, we got San Ramon. We got a Redwood City restaurant supports adding folic acid to tortillas. It is a bit of a slow news week, isn't it?
Yeah, we're trying to make sideshows illegal, and now we're trying to make tortillas illegal. But we're going to find out more from NBC Bay Area.
Couple of days till the new year, and tortillas sold in California will soon contain a new ingredient.
It is not what you might expect. A new state law that takes effect in January mandates that tortillas sold in the Golden State must contain a dose of folic acid. That's a vitamin that helps nurture healthy newborns. NBC Bears' Jody Hernandez explains.
Nora Garcia says tortillas are an important part of most meals for her and her family. That's why she was happy to learn that the family favorite will soon contain a beneficial new ingredient. Starting January 1st, tortillas sold in California must contain folic acid, a vitamin research shows can reduce birth defects by 70%.
All Latinos eat tortillas, so that is important that tortillas have vitamins.
This is our staple for our culture. It's just, I feel like this is who we are.
Ana Camacho owns a tortilla business in Redwood City. She makes and sells thousands of corn tortillas every day. While small businesses like hers will be exempt from the requirement, she says she thinks it's a great idea for mass producers.
If it helps with the birth defects and mainly Latinas, definitely. I feel like that's a big plus for us.
According to the legislation, Latino communities face a much higher risk of severe birth defects in early pregnancy. Adding folic acid to corn masa, a staple item in Latin American cuisine, could lower that risk.
Staple item in my kitchen.
More important, obviously, than our families, which, having our children be born healthy and strong.
The addition of folic acid in tortillas is going over well with the Garcias. Nora says another reason to eat up.
More tortillas. I'm ready for more tortillas.
In Redwood City, Jody Hernandez, NBC Bay Area News.
So this is good. There's no problem here, but I think a fucking way smarter thing to have done here would have been to require like the companies that make the mazahirina, the flour, just add it to the flour, because there ain't nobody out there grinding up their own fucking corn, I don't think.
Yeah, go to as high to the top of the food chain or whatever the process chain is possible, right? And get it at the source, and that way it goes into anything like pasta. Like, I'm Italian, that's a staple of our cuisine, right? There's so many staples of different types of cuisine that have to do with flour and bread. So yeah, get it into everyone. And granted, they're right. Like, the Latino birth defects are come at a much higher clip. But birth defects affect many populations, particularly the African American population too. So what can we do to get this into the staple foods in all varieties in all households?
And basically whatever we can do that doesn't mean that the United States has to provide everybody with health care like other normal countries do. As long as anything but that is good, actually.
Yeah, and really a lot of the work of universalizing healthcare in the United States has been about preventative care, and a lot of the reason people want to be on health insurance. Okay, we want to get health insurance to more people is for preventative care, so that they'd avoid trips to the emergency room, they avoid birth defects, they avoid more chronic problems later on, because it's so much cheaper to prevent than to cure. So this is good. This is good news. I would say this is the winners in a rare case. But yeah, the only losers out there are the other groups, the people that don't eat tortillas, basically.
Yeah,
who are they really?
Not for nothing. Some other news out of Oakland, California is in 2025. I no longer will even buy fucking corn tortillas because that shit is so easy to make. Like,
right? I've got a press at home. We got into making our own tortillas when we were on keto diet, so I've got a couple tortilla presses at home we can make. So I tend to make my own.
Oh yeah, and it's so much better, and you're not saving massive amounts of money, but a bag of that flour is fucking $3. You know how many fucking tortillas you can make out of that $3?
A ton. You can crank them out too. It's not that hard. Getting the masa together is not that hard.
No, you have to add salt, water, and if you're fancy, maybe a little bit of lard, and then you have to let it sit for 5 fucking minutes.
Yeah, I'm definitely into the lard, so I'm a little bit fancy. I like lard and everything.
Anyway, we're going to move on. San Ramon, the people living on the Calaveras Fault are surprised there are earthquakes. You know what's funny is we watch a guy who claims to be an astrogeophysicist. So you can tell that's a conspiracy bingo guy. And he was astonished, actually, by just the amount of... It was just the Calaveras Fault blew this dude's fucking mind when we were watching Conspiracy Bingo last week. He was like, whoa. I'm like, man,
right.
That's just a fault. He's like, look at all these earthquakes. I'm like, dude, that's just what happens on a fault line. I thought you were a geophysicist.
Well, that sounds like he's not alone, and some of the residents of San Ramon in the East Bay here in Bay Area have same concerns. So we'll hear about that from BC Bay Area.
Turn to the Contra Costa County city of San Ramon, and ever since their city became the earthquake capital of the Bay Area, people living there say they had one Christmas wish. They don't need a miracle; they just want a quake-free day. We sent NBC Bay Area Scott Budman to dig into the wish and see if Santa granted it.
God, they send Scott Budman out to fucking report on the dumbest fucking shit, man.
Yeah, he's the slow Newsweek reporter.
He's the opposite of, like, LaMonica gets all the, I know she's not the same organization, but he's like the opposite of LaMonica. They're like, oh, this is dumb. Send out Scott Budman.
Right. He's if you want to go with NBC, he's the anti-Damian Trujillo, basically.
Yeah.
San Ramon is talking about rocking.
It's been rocking and rolling.
Earthquakes are weird. They're freaky. They're weird.
Wait, what? No, they're just earthquakes.
They're earthquakes, bro.
There have been multiple shakers this week, more than 300 minor quakes since November. They come several times a day.
I felt like I woke up last night and felt a little rumbling. I don't know if I did or not, but yeah.
So maybe you're just starting to feel them.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, I see the problem. They're from Chicago. This guy's wearing a Bears jersey. They don't know what earthquakes are. Sorry.
Between the airport ride from the plane to the house, there was a couple, yeah.
They've all been relatively small, but feel like they're nonstop. Local kids are becoming amateur seismologists.
It was a 3.9 earthquake, I think, and I felt it.
That little girl knows more about the fucking earthquakes than the geophysicist guy, the geophysicist grifter we watch on YouTube.
She seems excited about it too.
Morning in bed.
And just about everyone we spoke to today has a specific Christmas wish.
I don't want any more earthquakes.
I don't know, hopefully no more earthquakes, and hopefully everyone stays safe.
They're not asking for a miracle, just steady ground.
I just hope that, we don't keep rocking and rolling.
Sorry, move.
San Ramon, Scott Budman, NBC Bay Area News.
All right, and so far today, it would appear San Ramon is getting its Christmas wish. The USGS has not recorded any earthquakes today. Fingers crossed.
Hooray. So I'm reminded, I don't know if you've seen Casablanca, the classic film, but I'm reminded of a scene in that where the police officer or the investigator comes out of the gambling backroom gambling establishment at this club in Casablanca and is shocked to find that there's gambling going on, and then one of the croupiers comes out with his winnings. This is just amazing to me that anyone who lives in California, anywhere in California, period, or the West Coast or any kind of earthquake zone, is shocked or upset or somehow thinks that it's unfair that earthquakes happen. I think it's intriguing that they're getting this kind of
it's a little out of the ordinary, the number, but I don't think the number's out of the ordinary. I think the fact that that they're getting probably about the same number maybe that they normally would, but they're over like magnitude 3, so you're actually feeling them. They're not even knocking anything off of your fucking shelves. They're not even scaring your cat. Like,
yeah, I have a saying with the good wife, like, wake me up, don't wake me up for anything less than a 4. But that's just from being in California. And I kind of dig earthquakes when they're not like, massive ones that cause damage and death and destruction. It reminds you that there's something a lot bigger out there than us, and that there's things that are going to be around a lot longer than us meaning humans. Then the world has been around a lot longer than us and will be. So just a friendly reminder that we don't know shit and we can't control everything, even if Waymo thinks we can. And if you're worried about a few earthquakes or a few more here and there, why are you living near a fault line? Why are you living in the Bay Area? Why are you living in California in the first place? Like, there's cheaper rents. There's a reason why it costs less to live in other places, because you don't have to do all the earthquake retrofitting that you have to do here. But it's kind of like, I live in Missouri and I'm, surprised and shocked that there's tornadoes, or I live in Florida and I'm, God, I wish, what are we going to do about these hurricanes? We got to stop these hurricanes. So, dude.
Not for nothing, that little girl that was talking about the earthquake, it's kind of cool because nobody got hurt. There was no real property damage. And now this is like an opportunity, actually, for the kids to learn about like plate tectonics and stuff like that. Like,
yeah, teach your children.
This is great.
The
kids are like, oh, why are there so many earthquakes? You're like, I don't know why, but here's what an earthquake is. You don't even have to be some kind of fucking genius yourself. You can just take them to the Wikipedia page about earthquakes, talk to your kids about earthquakes and shit. Fucking
for sure.
Now you got something to talk to your kids about. Like they get to fucking, they get to smarty pants the other kids at school. Like everybody wins here, and nothing bad's
100%.
happening. I don't know. They probably had to look kind of far to find people who were other people. They probably asked. They're like, I don't know. It was just a fucking earthquake.
It's like a whole family of people who were in town for the Bears-Niners game from Chicago, and like their one relative who lives here, right? And so they all stayed with her, I guess, and she was the one.
Oh, it must be scary if you don't live here. You're like, is it just always doing this here? I'd be like, yeah, actually, get out.
That would freak that would probably freak me out a little bit, right? But but also I don't know that how little is known about earthquakes outside of California, or that California is earthquake country, right? Like I figured it was sort of well known. So to me, like I said, they're kind of cool. As long as you have to duck and cover, just kind of roll with it, ride the wave. I enjoy. I actually am bummed when I miss feeling earthquakes like this.
Me too. Especially there was one a while ago that was like a 5, and I slept through it. I'm like, well, fuck,
yeah. And if and I've lived through the '89 quake here in the Bay, or in the Bay. I'm in the Bay right now where I'm at, but in the Bay. That was a 7 point something or other right around during the World Series. I was actually at Candlestick. I was actually there at Candlestick Park for the World Series game when that hit, and that was one of the more surreal moments of my entire life. But even that, it didn't feel like much at the time. It caused a lot of damage and destruction. But
if I remember, it wasn't that strong. The reason it caused so much damage is that it was shaking for longer than usual.
Yeah, it was a rolling kind of a thing, right? That's really what it is. It
damaged all the places that we built landfill. If you could imagine, that's where everything fucking. If you could imagine, I don't know.
Right, all the old infrastructure, the double-decker freeways, the marina that was built on landfill that was actually created. Ironically, landfill that was created from rubble from the 1906 earthquake. How about
the 1906 earthquake got to double dip, right?
Exactly. So, and folks who are from the Bay may not even know this, but there's a good, I think we've filled in a third of the original Bay with landfill, like the whole Bay itself. So it's actually 1/3 smaller, 30% small, 33% smaller than it was originally because of landfill. Like
that's
the whole
fucking crazy.
The whole SF airport is built on landfill. Most of San Francisco's, like the Soma and the China Basin district, and the Bayfront district, the Bay, whatever you call it, Bay Fair district with the Warriors Arena,
Bayview and Hunters Point and all that.
Yeah, it's all landfill. So there's quite a bit of liquefaction that could happen in a massive earthquake out there. So that's why we have a lot more, work and money that has to go into retrofitting spaces so that we can feel safe and that the whole city won't collapse if we do have another big one. And another big one's coming eventually. Like that's how it goes. And maybe this is a precursor of that. They've talked a lot about the East Bay having a big quake soon. We're due for one, I guess. So maybe it could be a precursor. It could be an outlier, and really a good, like you said, good opportunity to teach our children about science.
And like if you're, like where I live, there's not a whole lot of earthquake preparedness here. Is just like know your neighbors, right? Because we haven't got a lot of space. But if you got space, it's a good time to make sure that if you're storing water, that you haven't had your water stored there for fucking 11 years and it's all nasty. Make sure you got some canned food. Make sure you got, lighters or whatever if you need to light like a little, make sure you got batteries for your flashlights, that kind of stuff. But
yeah,
I'm not too worried about it. I don't know if that, if the big one comes and it knocks down Oakland, well, I don't know. I'll just I'll scavenge the wasteland for cans of beans and it'll be fine.
I can't wait to meet you out there scavenging. It'll be fun. We'll go back, like we said.
We'll meet halfway in Fremont.
There you go. I'll hike up Mission Boulevard. I'll meet you there. I'll meet you at the Sonic.
So up next, we got a story for a place that I'm going to move when I retire, when I get old. This place has fiber.
I put this on the docket just for you.
Looks like they're building. Looks like in San Francisco they're building a 15-story old folks home for tired old queens, for the ones. Because most of us, like, if you just don't want to move to Palm Springs when you turn 65 and you're gay, like the other 65-year-old gay men from San Francisco all do. Like if you're like, I could never live in Palm Springs. Well, San Francisco's got you covered with a 15-story old folks home.
Let's find out more.
In just a few years, this drenched, empty lot on Market Street will be transformed into a 15-story residential building for seniors in San Francisco.
As folks age, incomes become restricted, the cost of living rises, and so the need for affordable housing becomes even greater.
Because San Francisco looks after its LGBTQ+ people, the building will be marketed primarily to that community and to some veterans. Mercy Housing will develop the property, offering 187 studios and one-bedroom apartments with funding coming from the state and the city, all affordable housing.
For seniors age 62 plus, and the income will be restricted for very low income to extremely low income. So that means that folks can be making up to approximately $16,000 a year, up to around $92,000 a year.
Across the street, the building at 1939 Market Street will offer services and programs run by the nonprofit Open House. The architect, Paulette Taggart, highlighted the importance of its location.
The building is located here at the corner of DuBose and Market, and
it's in the Castro?
Reasons for this location is that it's located near a lot of the other LGBTQ facilities, including the other one run by Open House, who are the service providers here, which is just up Laguna Street.
When completed, it will be part of a mini campus with a total of 3 residential buildings and several locations to help support that community.
We will be, creating a corridor so that all of our folks have access to all of the programming spaces across all of our buildings.
According to one of the architects, the new building was designed with open spaces in mind to invite seniors to engage with one another.
Seniors have an increased sense of isolation, especially if they're no longer working. They have family and friends who are starting to pass away. And so intentionally designing spaces that can help them make connections with their neighbors.
Julie Strobel works with LGBTQ+ seniors at Open House.
One of the things that we really work against is the prevalent isolation that we have or that we experience in our community. We also have support groups. We have a men's support group, a women's support group. We have groups for long-term survivors of HIV.
The design has rainbow colors on both sides of the building. It's what the community wanted to broadcast to the rest of the city that, quote, "We are here." In San Francisco, Leanne Melendez, ABC 7 News.
This might be inappropriate. People are going to be getting their fuck on in that building.
Well, you said it. I didn't. This is actually lovely. I think this is another example of, in the Slow News Week, we can actually have some winners on winners and losers. I don't see anything loser about this. It's a great opportunity. It's a great way to support.
No, because they were saying there were going to be units there that people who were only making $16,000 a year were going to be able to afford. So, I mean, we're talking like massively subsidized rent for people who probably really fucking need it.
Yeah, people on extremely fixed income, Social Security style income. So this is great news. And if they can get their fuck on while they're getting cheap housing, more power to them. This is great. Like you said, it's a.
I don't feel I can't say what I was going to say something horribly inappropriate about something about you can't feel isolated with. And I know.
On this show, inappropriate. I don't know if there's that line even exists on Downballot.
I've been flying a little close to the fucking sun lately. I should be fucking at least on Downballot. I'm gonna try to be a little careful. My God.
Well, I was going to put something about old queens in the docket, but I figured I'd keep it real, seeing as I'm the.
I was telling you, not everybody wants to move to Palm Springs when they get old, so good for them.
Who would, man? It's freaking hot down there in the summer. You know how?
Yeah, when I was a kid, I was like, when I was a kid, it was like after my parents had moved, I was like, oh, we should go to Palm Springs. It sounds nice, and my parents were like, no, and I didn't. I just thought it's called Palm Springs. You're thinking like Oasis and resort or whatever. No, it's just like 114 fucking degrees all the time, actually.
Yes, in the cold of winter. So definitely no need to move to the desert. You can stay right here in San Francisco and age gracefully and get your dick on.
And it being in the Castro, I think it's like for a lot of people, even if they didn't like grow up or live in the Castro, as you get older and you're like becoming like a tired old queen or whatever, it sort of feels like home because all the little gay businesses and you're in the gayborhood, like.
Yeah, for sure. If you're right there, you can stay right there with.
It's not like at Market and Castro, but DuBose. I mean, you don't have to be like a spry old person to walk to Market and Castro there. As long as your legs still work, you get to Market and Castro on foot real easy.
Well, the interesting thing about development nowadays, we have a rapidly aging population. Folks are having less kids, but we have a huge blowing up senior population because the generations that are becoming quote unquote seniors are some of the biggest we've ever had. And what they're finding in urban development, this is from my days on the Planning Commission, is that seniors and now Gen Zers or young people, they really are looking for the same kind of things out of their housing and their residential space. It's like walkable. They're not looking to have a car, and community accessible open spaces, right? So
shopping nearby,
right? So that it makes sort of actually beneficial to our youth too. Maybe we'll see some more interaction between LGBTQ plus youth and seniors, and being able to age in place in your community also provides that opportunity for younger people to engage with our seniors and our elders, so they preserve a lot of tradition, culture, and also just, better connectivity between the generations. And that will help in a variety of ways, not just in the LGBTQ community, but all communities.
Yeah, this seems great. I mean, it being in the Castro is wonderful. And not for nothing, on Conspiracy Bingo we cover this idea of 15-minute cities, and people are like, oh, they're trying to stop you from. I'm like, they're not trying to stop you from doing anything. This is what it is. It's like these places where you can walk or cycle to wherever you need to be in 15 minutes for most fucking things. These places are just cities, and a lot of suburbs are like that. Even where I lived in Fremont, there wasn't much that I needed that I couldn't get to on my bike in 15 minutes. And so like people are conspiracizing and fucking making up weird fucking crazy stories about how they're not going to let you leave. I'm like, what do you mean they're not going to let you leave? If you live in a place like that, there's a train that takes you a fucking way far. It'll take you all the way to fucking San Jose. What are you talking about?
Typically, all you hear about a project like this is like, oh, it's just going to cause more traffic, and it's like, no,
not this.
Not the case at all. Right?
Don't get me wrong. Like, the old people at the store, they do walk kind of slow and look at the bread for a little too long. I will say, especially these people. I mean, old man reading all the oh, I gotta stay trim. Gotta still be a gilf, grandpa.
Yeah, I'm a self checkout guy myself, and it is a little painful sometimes. Beep.
Oh God, beep. I hate the self checkout, dude.
Beep. And then help is on the way, right?
Oh man, I hate fucking. So I don't even unless like the self checkout line is like empty. If there's just a few people and like if there's anybody in front of me in the self checkout line, I'll kind of assess the situation, take the average age temperature, and be like, I'll wait. I'll wait
for that one cash register that's open. Yeah.
Also, like I go to the store. I go to the regular grocery store so infrequently that I always need booze, and that shit's locked up everywhere in Oakland. So anyway, we should move on here. Let's get our shit.
Yes.
Let's get our shit together, San Francisco. Apparently, the bicyclists are ignoring the traffic laws in the Embark. You don't fucking say. Cyclists in the city ignoring the traffic laws?
Shocked I am.
Do you mean that the cyclist might like be in an intersection and there's totally no cars coming? They'll check left, check right, and then just run the red light after they've stopped? You mean like that? Uh-oh.
Well, we'll find out from John Schrabel and local, I think, Cron TV.
Badly, KRON 4's Stanley Roberts visits the Embarcadero to see how many bikers are actually following the rules.
That's a fancy tie.
You haven't seen one of these. Well, no need to worry. You're not alone. Half the cyclists haven't seen them either.
I love the bike paths, but I do think it needs to be a little clearer when they need to stop.
A little clearer? You mean like a traffic light that comes in red, yellow, and green?
They should stop at the... I think, for example, he's stopping. I think many people do. Sometimes people don't.
Well, that one was riding on the wrong side of the fucking road, lady. You should chase him down.
We talked to one person and determined that bicyclists are not following the rules. Sometimes.
Also, there's like no... Okay, so...
I'm in San Francisco on the Embarcadero near the...
What about the scooters? You think the people on the scooters follow the traffic laws?
E-bikes, yeah. A few bicycle red lights. And a lot of cyclists ignoring said bike traffic lights. They have red lights for the bicycles.
Yeah.
But they run it.
Yes.
Why?
Because nobody is reading signs.
That's the most down-ballot-y fucking thing.
Nobody is reading signs.
That is so down-ballot-y. I love it.
In fact, I was able to see dozens upon dozens of cyclists ignoring the traffic signals. And they're not...
They managed to fucking not... Oh, they all managed not to fucking run into each other somehow in this chaos. That was almost... That could have been like a six-bicycle accident, but somehow they managed not to have a six-bicycle pileup. As if they are paying attention.
Yeah, it's just not to your silly sign.
2008. So sometimes they go on the sidewalk.
Yeah, just to avoid the red light.
Just to avoid the red light, and then they come back out again.
Yeah.
And that's not cool.
I don't think it's cool. I mean, I understand why they do it, but I don't think it's very cool.
For the record, bicyclists are required to follow the same traffic laws as owners of vehicles. And to be fair, I did see some cyclists stopping.
Some people will stop, but most of the time, they just keep going.
Like this guy right here?
Yep, exactly.
I could show you literally hundreds of cyclists ignoring the dedicated traffic signal. But something else caught my attention. Those food delivery people. That's a different people behaving badly.
Wait, why?
The fine is $234 if you get caught. But based on what I'm seeing, there's not much fear.
A lot of people are impatient.
Okay.
Patience is what is going to pay off. Without patience, there's going to be accidents. There's going to be...
Are they behaving badly, or is this...
They're definitely behaving badly, Stanley. You know that.
San Francisco. Stanley Roberts.
You know Stanley.
Dude, but we, like, I don't... It seems like they're paying attention, just not to the fucking sign.
Yeah, no, absolutely. As you mentioned, there was a near collision, but it was avoided, and they know to look out for each other, right? I think that it's tend to be cyclist behavior. They're looking out for their own. And yeah, it's just silly season. Like, just have the same lights. Like, I don't see why you have to have a separate light if it's all on the same timer. Just it's ridiculous. But then he even showed a couple clips of people, them obeying the sign. Oh, it's green, and they're riding through. And then he didn't really follow through. You're right on that. Well, why are the food delivery people somehow like the big bugaboo in the situation? Like, what's so special about them? But
I know why. I know why. Because if they don't get that food there at a certain fucking time, the fucking person that gets the food is gonna fucking bitch to DoorDash.
Oh yeah, for sure. They can probably get like a free burger at some point. So yeah, you gotta hustle. Got to make that money. And the more jobs you get, the more money you're gonna make. So, well, yeah. So again, slow news week, but get your shit together, everyone.
We're not hearing of we don't hear a lot of stories about like cyclists running into pedestrians. We don't hear a lot.
No, and it's not as though motorists are not breaking the same laws and running red lights and on the Embarcadero. And
I would suggest to you the stakes are a little bit higher if the motorist runs the red light in a pedestrian heavy area like the Embarcadero.
Yeah, for the cyclists and the pedestrians, right? So where's the big story about people behaving badly in their cars, right? Like,
well, we saw it. It was a sideshow in the rough and tumble Sunset,
or it's Waymo's cars stopping in the middle of the street in a power outage, right? Like, we don't hear a lot about how the carnage and frankly death and carnage that's caused every single day by human motorists. Tends to be whenever there's something we can single out about autonomous vehicles or bicyclists or pedestrians, quote unquote, behaving badly, right? It just boggles my mind that we're not really covering the bigger issue here, which is that people in cars cause most of the trouble.
Yeah, I mean, I ride a bike around the city. I've not had any close calls here. I almost somebody opened a door, but I was able to go around. But because I could see, I was like, oh, that person's gonna open their fucking door. And so I started sort of moving. No cars behind me. Started moving. I'm like, I can just feel it. And the fucking door opens. I'm like, I knew it. But like everything was fine. But like those people are, like I said, you saw all those bikes coming to the same point at once, and they all fucking managed not to hit each other. That one person seemed a little confused because they stopped, put their feet down, and kind of looked around. That was pretty funny, but. They're not running into the pedestrians. And I think that like the more important thing is like it seems like the bike lane was protected, and where they were at too, there was a crosswalk there, but there was no like real cross traffic from the cars. So I don't know. I don't think they were hitting the pedestrians. Like if they saw like pedestrians and then I don't know, if they see pedestrians start to walk across the street, they stop and wait for the pedestrians. I think everything's fine here. Every time we cover a fucking story about bikes, people are mad about the bike lane or that one guy, that famous best down ballot story ever when the guy called the board of supervisors to yell about how people on bikes smell bad.
Yeah, and pedestrians, I mean, if you're crossing the street, no matter if there's a bike lane or not, or if it's just all auto traffic, if you're not looking both ways before you step out into a street anyway, looking both ways, quote unquote, just being safe, right? Being aware of your surroundings, then it's on, yeah, it may not be legally on you, but it's on you. Like be safe. Don't step out in the goddamn street.
Cyclists are going to stop for pedestrians. They just are.
Yeah, and they can stop a lot quicker too, right? And not than a car. And then even if they hit you, it's not going to, maybe get bumped or bruised, but you're not going to be, dead. So just be safe whenever you're out in the street, whether you're in a car, a bike, or you're walking around. Just be safe. Be aware of your surroundings.
So this next clip, it's the and another thing. We don't have a video, but it just looks like some.
The headline says it all.
I guess like a flaming load got dumped onto Highway 17 in So Highway 7, that's like right coming up to where I used to live. If it was Highway 17 in San Jose.
Yeah, it looks like I think it looks like the Stevens Creek 280. Or no, sorry, it looks like the 17, like maybe the 17 or the 85 interchange. Apparently, what happened was the load of a garbage truck caught on fire, so they had to do an emergency dump to basically get the fire off the truck.
Emergency dump, you say? I'm a child.
So there was a flammer. Hey, I am the father of a 3-year-old. I know all about emergency dumps. We just had one earlier, right before we got on. That's why I was a little late getting on the show. Ooh, stinky, she says. But yeah, so. Apparently, this is what happens when a fire breaks out in your garbage truck. You can just dump the load like Han Solo dumping a smuggling cargo at the first sign of an Imperial cruiser. But it's left for the fire department to clean up. It looks like they got it doused, and no one was harmed in the making of this garbage fire. But I figured it would be an appropriate end to the garbage dumpster fire that was 2025 here in Downballot.
Yeah, we saw some shit. I thought about trying to go through and do like year in review stuff for
it's a lot,
and I was just like, no.
Yeah, it's a lot of work for just the two of us on a almost volunteer basis.
For Sunday, I mean, for Red Light tonight, because there's no public comment. We might go check in on some of the sort of recurring stuff, like the new monarchists. We might check in on those people, that kind of stuff. But
yeah, check out California Forever. Take a look at how they're doing.
I have a feeling we're going to hear more about that in 2026.
100%. I mean, there's an election next year, and they were talking about going to the ballot.
Some Bay Area. We could just do some like off the cuff, real quick, just a couple minutes of Bay Area news predictions. Because I predict that Susan City is going to end up rejecting California Forever once they figure out what the fuck it is. Once they see like one video of that guy that looks like he's wearing the wrong outfit and he's totally in the wrong century,
Right. Hello, Susan City. Welcome. We are here to help you increase your tax revenue. Just vote for us. Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think that project will stall out at some point, but I do think that the rise of the billionaire class and the billionaire oligarchs here in California and elsewhere in the tech. Am I pronouncing it correctly? Oligarchs. I think that is something to watch out for. Because we covered it last week on Downballot with the compounds, being built by Zuckerberg and others are trying to be built in Palo Alto. These folks just want to consolidate their power and their space and have their own little private, their own private Idahos, just about anywhere they can, and that's what that really is all about at the end of things.
I predict they're not going to try to do that here in Oakland.
Yeah, probably a bad idea.
I mean, up the hill away, sure, I guess.
Well, but who other than you wants to be in Oakland anyway these days? It's just such a cesspool of crime.
I'll predict we see Oakland coming back this year. Actually, I predict that we see Oakland coming back, but in good ways and bad ways. I also predict we're going to see rents starting to go up as Oakland comes back.
Yeah, no, and I've heard good things about crime rates being down in Oakland. Which we talked about,
but not Jack London Square. There's no saving Jack London Square.
Well, it's on landfill, so it'll be gone in the next earthquake anyway. So don't worry about it.
Any San Jose predictions?
Let's That's a good question. Well, we don't have, as far as electoral predictions, we're going to have one theoretically contested city council race. We'll get into that later. I think we'll probably see, I'm guessing it'll be a political newcomer. I think we'll see a lot more political action here in San Jose than we normally would. Typically, incumbency is really powerful in a backwoods burg like San Jose. It behaves more like a suburb. But I feel like there's this recall, throw the bastards out, government's not working for anyone mentality is going to continue to win the day. And I think my projection actually is that Governor Mahan, I still would not put it past Mayor Matt Mahan to throw his hat into the gubernatorial ring. But I also think that if he does not, I think that as you start to see that his policies, particularly around homelessness and public safety, do not bear the fruit, or at least the immediate fruit that folks are expecting in terms of making them feel safer, or really doing anything at all about our unhoused and homelessness crisis. I think that you're going to start to see a backlash against him and his policies, and I think that his support and his sort of cadre of support in the council will wane a bit as it comes to pass that his policies are not bearing fruit. And all of the work that's being done around beautifying, quote unquote, the city, cleaning up the city for these major 2026 special events, while it might generate some immediate economic impact in San Jose, it's actually going to leave us a lot worse for the wear and ill prepared to handle, to deal with the city that we're left with once the 500 or whatever thousand or million people that are coming here for the World Cup and the Super Bowl and everything else are gone. I think we're doing a whole lot to build up to that, and not doing a whole lot to invest in long-term health of the city. And I think that will come to come back to bite the mayor and his political allies in the butt, whether he jumps into the race. And maybe he should jump in the race for governor because of that. That was sort of one of my predictions.
The only other, this is kind of a weird prediction. I predict we're going to see vehicle versus building, but with two vehicles.
that could be the case. I don't think we'll see more vehicles. I do predict we won't see more vehicles jumping onto BART tracks.
No, that was a freak accident where
that might be a freak occasion.
Where the fucking tow truck somehow turned into a jump ramp. We're not going to see that.
And then as far as San Francisco, I predict that the Millennium Tower will continue to be a regular guest on Get Your Shit Together. And that Alan Wong will not be the supervisor for District 4 by the end of next year, whether through recall or the election.
Yeah, they're going to find out that he's got a drift car and he's fucked.
So those are some bold predictions. But again, we'll see what happens. And if you tune in here every Tuesday night, well, at least almost every Tuesday night at 7:30 p.m. Pacific, and then download this podcast, the 69th best podcast in California, by the way, according to some dude, you will continue to learn more and be better educated, like our viewer tonight who voted in the election. So thank you.
Thank you for that. I thought the turnout was going to be lower, but it's still. I'm glad that our viewer voted, and it's pretty neat to find out somebody learned about the fact that the election was happening at all and the candidates here. So that means makes all the strife and the struggle and the doxing and everything worth it.
Right, and all the struggle to get on 5G Wi-Fi hotspots.
Thanks for doing what you needed to do, because this show kind of sucks if I have to do it by myself. So
all good. Yeah, no. So it makes it worthwhile. It sounds like we increased turnout by at least 5% on our own here in Santa Clara County. So congrats us. But stay tuned for more in 2026. It's going to be a whopper of a year.
Right on, and everybody, stay tuned for Red Light. This is Audible Smoke Signal. This is Locals, and this is actually the last stream of 2025 on this network. So,
hey, Happy New Year, everybody.
Yep. Go out.
We'll see you soon.
Bye.
All right, buddy. Bye.
Time to get the party started. Pick up my phone just to check and see who's calling. Dress up real nice for the ladies at the bar, and I'm driving in my car just to get to where they are. Here at the local scene is where I plant my feet. It's where I smoke my cigarette and I hold my drink. I look at all my friends, they're all blazing greens. Here at the front of the stage, waiting for MTV, where all those standing next to me with a pipe in his hand, ready to blaze for me. About 5 minutes later, we're all singing Queen. Now get the fuck up on stage, man, rock the scene. Yeah, we do what we want, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. We do what we want, what we wanna do, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. Enjoy that band. I turn and head back to the bar for a refill, man, because you know where we are. We're headed out to the car to smoke another one and another one. Now just when the magic starts kicking in, I hear relapse playing, you know it's time to head in. Alright everybody, now it's time to grab a new drink, spark it if you got it, and then pass it to me. Yeah, we do what we want, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. We do what we want, what we wanna do, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. Enjoy that band. Last up on the bill for the show tonight is Down and Dirty at 5, so we're headed outside to spark up another joint. Now who's got my lighter? Stoner E, of course, shouldn't you be inside?
I'm all up in this bitch, being who I gotta be. I'm fucked up like the U.S. economy. The truth is that I don't think logically. Stoner E take you on a psychedelic odyssey. Now inside motherfuckers is rocking me, and outside shit we smoke a lot of broccoli. Rocky the roller, yo, that sexy girl be jocking me. Ain't too drunk to fuck, but I'll probably do it sloppily.
We do what we want, what we wanna do, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. Enjoy the band, enjoy the band. We do what we want, what we wanna do, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band.
Molly say that he like jamming, and he hope he like jamming too. Well, I gotta say, thank you, Bob, we do. Yes, I gotta say, thank you, Bob, we do. Well, Bob Marley said that he like jamming, and he hope we like jamming too. Well, I gotta say, thank you, Bob, we do. Yes, I gotta say, thank you, Bob, we do. Yeah,
we do what we want, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. We do what we want, and what we wanna do, what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. Enjoy that band. We do what we want.